Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode from Sacko to Shiva, presented by 816 Podcasting with Chase and Tom. On today's episode, we are going to be covering our top 10 rankings at each position. We're going to hit a few highlights at each of those. We're going to do mailbag, injuries, and do our sleepers. Tom, let's get started on QBs right off the bat.
Let's do it.
All right, so at number one, our consensus is Brady.
Brady is number one.
Then we got Breeze. And we got a few highlights for number 3 at Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, number 3. He's put back-to-back 20-plus fantasy point outings and is in a great spot to succeed in this game against the 49ers. The 49ers just coming off an overtime loss where they gave up 447 total yards to Jacoby Brissett and the Colts. And I think Washington's skill players are better than what Indy has.
And then Cousins also, in weeks 1 and 2 over the past 3 years, is bottom or outside the top 30 at the QB position in fantasy scoring. And then weeks 3 through 16, he is average of top 8. And so far this year, he is top 5.
Yeah, he comes alive after a couple weeks.
Kind of like Russell Wilson does after September. All right, next up we have Ryan at 4, Aaron Rodgers at 5, and at 6 we have Deshaun Watson. What's our hot takes on Watson?
No team has scored more points this season with one starting quarterback than the Texans have with Watson in the game at 34.3. So it means that with him at the helm, they're scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping plays alive with his mobility, and it's looking great. I love him season long. I actually had him ranked higher than Rodgers this week for me.
So that's Watson at number 6. The other crazy thing about that is the Browns are 25th in scoring defenses to the quarterback position, and they have allowed every single opponent quarterback to have at least 20 points besides the Jets.
Yeah, it's the Jets. So at 7, we have Matt Stafford. And then at 8, we have Jameis Winston against Arizona.
So Arizona is currently allowing the 7th most fantasy points to the quarterback position, with 3 of the 5 quarterbacks throwing for 2 or more touchdowns against them. So, I mean, that's where you want to go. You want to start guys that have that type of potential.
I actually think Jackson can have a good game this week, because if he gets a matchup up against Bethel at all, it's over. Like, he's going to burn him, and then you're just going to get a huge, probably like 40-yard touchdown if he can get a matchup against Bethel.
And you know, he's that boom or bust type wide receiver. He's always going to want to get those long bombs to him.
Yeah. And then to round out our top 10, we have Alex Smith at 9 and Phillip Rivers at 10. Mm-hmm. So let's run through those again, Tom.
Brady, Breeze, Cousins at 3, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson at 6, Stafford at 7, Winston at 8, Alex Smith 9, Phillip Rivers at 10.
Sounds like a pretty good top 10. All right, we're going to move it on to the running back position. We're kind of on a time constraint, ladies and gentlemen, though, because we do have a little scheduling conflict. So we're going to be burning through this episode pretty quick. I apologize about it. It's going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but let us know what you think about it in the comments after the episode. So at 1, we both have Todd Gurley.
Yeah, Todd Gurley is definitely number 1. The notes on Gurley, Jacksonville is allowing 130 rushing yards per game. So Gurley should be able to get right on track. Jacksonville does not do well against the run.
Then we have Devontae Freeman at 2, Kareem Hunt at 3. Who do we have at 4?
Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette at 5, Melvin Gordon at number 6.
All right, what's our hot takes on Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon gets a Raiders defense that's in the bottom 10 in terms of rushing yards and receiving yards allowed to running backs. So they're getting very, very similar to what we've noticed out of Atlanta.
All right. I like it. Then we both have Lamar Miller at 7, C.J. Anderson at 8, Jay Ajayi at 9, and Buck Allen at 10.
Buck Allen, yeah. He's been doing everything well in his time there. Terrence West
being out definitely helps. Yeah. Like, that's what he needed to happen.
So Buck Allen's led the backfield in playing time in all 5 weeks and led in touches in 4 of the 5 weeks. He's probably the best, has the safest floor of any of the running backs there, because you know he's going to be involved in the passing game.
Definitely. So to recap our top 10 at running backs, we have Todd Gurley at 1, Devontae Freeman at 2, Kareem the Dream Hunt at 3. At 4, we have Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette at 5, Melvin Gordon at 6, Lamar Miller at 7, C.J. Anderson at 8, Jay Ajayi at 9, and Buck Allen at 10. Now, an interesting stat that Anthony dropped on me earlier, there's only 3 running backs in the league with 20-plus carries this season, and right now it's Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, and C.J. Anderson.
Those are 3 fantastic names, and those are the guys that you want on your team as much as you can.
And that's 20-plus carries in 3 separate games. So that's just great. All right, moving on to the wide receiver position. To start off the list, you will have the same person we always have at number 1, because even when Big Ben throws 5 interceptions, he still puts up 10 receptions on 19 targets for 100-plus yards, 150-plus yards, and that's Antonio Brown at number 1. DeAndre Hopkins at number 2. What do we got on him?
So he's facing a Cleveland team that allows 132 yards per game to opposing wideouts. So, I mean, they can't really cover anybody right now. So that's another guy that you want to get in there as much as you can.
Definitely. One of my favorite receivers in this top 10 this week is Michael Thomas at 3, Julio Jones at 4, and then one of my favorite receivers in the league, Keenan Allen at 5. What you got on him?
So Keenan Allen is Phillip Rivers' favorite target, and you always want that in a wide receiver. You want that guy that has the comfortability with the quarterback. Keenan Allen has 9 or more targets in every single game this year.
Yes. And the thing is it's just the opportunity of those targets. Even in bad matchups and all that, he's still getting you 5 receptions, 50 yards. That's still double-digit points. Yeah, it's not wide receiver 1, but definitely a great stat to have, just because, I mean, the opportunity of all those targets, 9+ targets, man, that's anything can happen, especially with him.
Opportunity. The opportunity's knocking, and hopefully he comes through with the big points for your team this week.
Then we have Mike Evans at 6, T.Y. Hilton at 7, Chris Hogan makes the top 10 this week at number 8. Then we have Jordy Nelson at 9, and Michael Crabtree at 10.
Crabtree has been nothing but fantastic on the season. Even missing week 4, he still leads the team in catches, yards, and touchdowns, which is amazing because really nobody else on the team is doing anything. Amari Cooper, he had 10% of his target share last week, so he's not really involved. You got Jared Cook doing a little bit, but this is Crabtree's show.
Right now in the season, Amari Cooper is 74th wide receiver.
That's crazy.
I think it's something like 4 receptions for 23 yards on the season.
And that was everybody's second, maybe third round pick.
You know, how much are you beating up yourself? Because I've always been, hey, I'm going Crabtree over Cooper. Like, I'll draft Crabtree first before I draft Cooper. How much do you beat up yourself that if you drafted Amari Cooper and now you're looking at your team like, man, I could have drafted Crabtree?
Yeah, I think all along we've been saying that we'd rather have Crabtree in the 5th than Cooper in the 2nd or 3rd. So that's good for us. Not so good.
Heck, I would even take Crabtree in the 3rd over Cooper in the 3rd. Like, I know that's a hot take, but like the stats are there, guys, over the past couple years. And my favorite thing about Crabtree this week is Derek Carr comes back.
Yeah, the signal caller comes back to lead his team.
All right, so let's recap the top 10, Tom.
Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Thomas, Julio at 4, Keenan Allen 5, Mike Evans 6, T.Y. Hilton 7, Hogan at 8, Jordy Nelson 9, Crabtree at 10.
Very nice. All right, let's kick it over to the tight end position. He's always the number 1 for some reason, even though he's not been performing like it due to injuries. But at number 1, we have Gronkowski. Then we have an 816 favorite, Travis Kelce at number 2. Then a surprise one that a lot of people just aren't realizing just the production he's putting in there with the opportunities he gets. And that's Cameron Brate. It's one of Anthony's favorite tight ends this year.
Yeah, Cameron Brate's done everything that they've asked him to do there. If they need him to block, he stays in the block. If they need him to go out and catch passes, he goes out and catch passes. So through 4 games, he's tied with Mike Evans in red zone targets with 6, and he also leads the team in touchdown catches 3.
There we go.
Which is amazing.
Very reliable for Jameis Winston in the red zone. Then at 4, we have Evan Ingram, Delaney Walker at 5. Then one of my favorite tight ends this year is Austin Seferian-Jenkins. Now, one thing, since he's been back from his suspension, there's only been one tight end who's had more targets and receptions at the tight end position, and that's Zach Ertz and then Austin Seferian-Jenkins since he's been back. I'm just saying he should be higher in the rankings for a lot of people. You don't look at him as a sleeper anymore, guys. This guy is a week in, week out starter. He's on a bad team that needs to throw to the tight end, needs to get the ball out quick. Start Austin Seferian-Jenkins every week. And on DraftKings, he's super cheap still. I think he's like $4,200. I'm starting him every week until they start upping his thing or upping his price. Just because you got to look at the target share of that. I think it's like 31% of the offensive targets goes to him.
Yeah, he's been a focal point of that offense. Since he's come back, he's played almost 80% of the snaps. He's led the team in targets with 18 and in catches with 15 since he came back. So, I mean, he's doing good things on a bad offense.
Definitely. Then we have Jordan Reed at 7, Jared Cook at 8, Hunter Henry at 9. What do you got on Hunter?
Hunter Henry has out-targeted Antonio Gates 11-8 and also out-snapping him 70% to 50% in the last 2 weeks. So it seems to me that Hunter Henry is starting to take over that tight end position, and Gates is starting to drop by the wayside a little bit.
I think once Gates got the record for most TDs by tight end, I think they're going to definitely start featuring Hunter Henry. And I know it's been a few weeks. It's just I think San Diego's still trying to find their identity right now. They haven't seemed like what they have in the past. They got a lot of confusion with Allen actually being healthy and just that offense in general. They're still working out kinks.
Yeah, and they also get Mike Williams back this week too.
Yes. I don't think he's going to play for a few weeks though.
They said he was questionable, that he has a possibility of playing in the game.
I don't see him playing until at least next week.
We're going to find out. I mean, it's an exciting thing to see one of their big rookies jump back in.
Yeah. Especially Mike Williams type of player. And then last on our top 10 is Martellus Bennett. Mm-hmm. So to round out our top 10, we have Gronk, Kelsey, Cameron Braid at 3, Evan Ingram at 4, Delaney Walker at 5, Austin Seferian-Jenkins at 6, Jordan Reed, Jared Cook, Hunter Henry, and then Martellus Bennett at 10. All right. So who are some of your sleepers for your running back position?
My running back position, I one of the guys that I love, and we all know that we're doing this for a 12-team PPR, and it's Kamara in New Orleans, especially with Adrian Peterson getting shipped off to Arizona, which we didn't talk about, but Peterson now in Arizona. That leaves Kamara and Ingram to take up all the slack that he left, which is probably 10 carries and a couple targets. And I think Kamara has...
I don't even think it was 10 carries and a couple targets. I think he had 10 carries and a couple targets over the 5 weeks he was with them. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not even worried about it. I don't think it changes Kamara too much. I just think they know that they're going to he's probably going to be the feature guy now.
He's the game breaker.
Even though Ingram every week has had outsnapped and just time played in general over Kamara and Peterson by a large margin, almost by 15% each week.
I think what Kamara represents is what they thought Reggie Bush was going to be, just better rushing ability.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's unreal to get.
I think they just need to use Mark Ingram as the red zone threat, the goal line guy, and then I think you need to use Kamara all the other downs.
Who do you got?
I have Mike Gillislee. He hasn't really done much, but if you pay attention, he's averaging 5 yards per carry. They're just not featuring him, and they're having a hard time really, again, finding their identity with that offense with Tom Brady. It's like they've had so many injuries, and I think if they can feature a running back, they should, because Mike Gillislee's been doing it. They just only been giving him, 12 carries a game, and he's still been getting like 52 yards.
Yeah. The crazy thing about him is this game script should be perfect for what he does.
Yes.
Usually when you have a team that's favored by 10, 7, that kind of point, it points to them getting up and just killing the clock, and that's what they're hoping to do with Gillislee.
Yeah, and when they get in the red zone, they're not gonna try and risk turnovers. They're gonna sit there and just pound it in the end zone with the running back. They're not worried about the Jets scoring at all. All right, let's go to quarterbacks. Who's your sleeper?
My sleeper is Jacoby Brissett.
I like it.
I mean, he's been doing everything you could ask of a quarterback in his short time there. He's been phenomenal. He had career numbers last week. I believe it was 314 passing yards, and he could always run the ball. He always has the opportunity of getting 30, 40, 50 yards in one play with his legs. So he's my sleeper, Jacoby Brissett.
I like it. I actually have Trevor Siemian. I've been a fan of Trevor Siemian this whole year. and I like him every game going forward. A lot of people have him ranked outside their top 10. I just love him this week. I think he's going to do have a good game.
Who do you got as a sleeper and a tight end?
Tight end, David Njoku. I love this kid. Like, he's just a fun kid to watch. And with Kevin Hogan passing the ball, he loves to get that ball to the tight end, and I like it a lot for him. All right, what about you?
I got Ryan Griffin, the tight end for Houston. I believe he went to University of Connecticut, but I could be wrong on that. I thought I heard it on one of the things. So I root for him. He's playing against a team that doesn't do well covering the tight end, so I kind of always want to target the Giants or Cleveland or even Washington, which I thought was kind of weird. They were right up there too.
Yeah.
So Ryan Griffin, Houston against Cleveland.
I like it. All right, so next up, I'm going to go to the wide receiver position. My favorite sleeper this week is Adam Thielen. And I don't know if he's a sleeper anymore because Stefan Diggs is out.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a huge uptick in targets. Hopefully he does well with yardage and maybe scores a few touchdowns.
And the way we pick our sleepers is somebody that's not ranked in our top 10 or not considered a wide receiver 1 or running back 1, QB 1, tight end 1 this week for us. So who's your first wide receiver?
My first wide receiver sleeper is a guy that's come up in the last 2 or 3 weeks and actually played about 80% of his snaps and done pretty decent with the targets that he's been getting. And that's Ricardo Lewis from Cleveland. Kevin Hogan starting this week, so hopefully he starts looking his way again.
I think they will look his way because you got to look at it this way. Kevin Hogan and Ricardo Lewis were both on second-team reps, and when you're like that, you're already building a rapport with him. He knows what he has with Ricardo Lewis, and not to mention Britt is just wasn't worth the sign. Like, it's just they should have just not worried about him, and now I think Ricardo Lewis is going to step up and have the opportunity.
Yeah, I like Ricardo Lewis. I tried to pick him up in the leagues that I needed a wide receiver, and so hopefully he does well.
Yeah.
Who else you got for a sleeper at wide receiver?
This one I'm probably going to get some hate on me for because it's somebody playing for Pittsburgh this week, and it's Juju Smith-Schuster. He is I think he's a good sleeper this week. He's a very deep take, but I just think he has a good game this week. I think he has a breakout game.
He's been doing the small things well. If you watch him, he's been making plays in the limited time that they've given him plays. Yeah. So it's a good little sneaky pick there.
I think he gets double-digit fantasy points this week.
So 6 catches, 60?
I could see 5 catches, 60 with a possible touchdown.
That's not bad. So my next guy is a boom or bust guy, and
All right.
He plays on a high-powered offense. And with an injury to one of their wide receivers, I think this guy could step in and make a difference on this game.
All right, what we got?
Taylor Gabriel for Atlanta.
I like him.
Mohamed Sanu is out. He will not play. So that opens the door for somebody else to step in.
And Julio is still injured. And every time Julio's been injured, you always see Gabriel take a step forward. He's a true burner too, guys.
So I see a lot of upside in a Taylor Gabriel.
I like it.
That's all my sleepers for wide receivers. Do we got any more?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. Again, sorry about it being a short episode, guys, ladies and gentlemen. But, hey, we got still a lot more to cover. We're going to cover some injuries, and we're going to hit Ezekiel Elliott news. Obviously, most people should know by now Ezekiel Elliott's suspension has been upheld, but now is to hit the Fifth Circuit court system.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I believe his suspension is going to stay upheld for the season, and if I am a team right now that is 4-1, 5-0, and you see the Zeke owner, maybe the Zeke owner is struggling to 3-2, 2-3, or worse, I'm lowballing an offer at him. Or maybe not even lowballing, but I'm sending an offer for Zeke that's not going to hurt my team necessarily going forward. Essentially, help them because I want Zeke for the playoffs.
I mean, I will try and get Zeke no matter what I can. If I don't have to pay too much for him, I think that's a great win. But on the flip side is, for those 6 weeks that he's out, you could still go grab McFadden and Alfred Morris if they're out there.
Now, who do you think it's going to be, McFadden or Morris?
I personally think McFadden is the better running back, and he fits what they try and do with the running back more.
But Alfred Morris has looked like he's in better shape than he's been in years. Like since his rookie year.
Yeah, and the one thing that he doesn't do that McFadden does is catch balls.
I'll give you that, but like his yards per carry are good on the way they're featuring him. And I understand the argument of McFadden Like you're saving his legs right now just because you know there's a chance that Zeke can get suspended. Yep. Now I understand they're going to activate him from or activate him to the 53-man roster for the game days, but I like Morris. Like in a couple leagues, I picked up Morris and McFadden. Like as soon as the news hit, like I dropped people. I dropped people like Matt Breida, Sammy Watkins, just people that I was taking flyers on for later in season, like Aaron Jones, people that I thought might take an uptake. But obviously, I'd rather take a gamble on picking up two people that I know one of them is going to be a stud no matter what, like a guaranteed stud. But I actually think it's going to be Morris over McFadden.
I don't think you can go wrong either way, just as long as you grab one of them.
Yeah. I think Morris is a bigger gamble, but I think McFadden's probably safer. But if Morris gets the starting job, I'm happy.
And to me, I went after McFadden in all leagues I can get him in because Morris was owned in a few spots, and I'm like, I don't really see making a trade for him. But McFadden was free, so that's why I grabbed him.
I like it. What are some of the injuries we got around the league?
So injuries: Mohamed Sanu, hamstring is out. Terrence West, calf is out. Charles Clay, knee out.
Multiple weeks.
Devontae Parker is doubtful. He did not practice today.
Nope, he's not going to play.
So that means he's not going to play. Sam Bradford has announced is out. Stephon Diggs, groin is out. Sterling Shepard, ankle is out. Rob Kelly is doubtful for the game, which means he's out.
Okay, I got a question for you. Ty Montgomery has been practicing. Do you think he plays? And who do you think leads the team in RB snaps this week?
This one is a tough call because he was not on the injury list and he full practiced today.
I think they feature Aaron Jones over Ty Montgomery in the running back position, and I think you start to see Ty Montgomery back in the slot.
You know, I'm always a Ty Montgomery fan because I have him in a couple leagues, and I did not get Aaron Jones. I could see a 60-40 split with Montgomery taking 60.
I see it the other way, but I think the snap percentage at the running back is Aaron Jones in the lead, but I think Montgomery's going to be – I think you're going to see him back in the receiving position. And it's not that, like – and I'm not saying that, like, that's going to be it going forward. It's just Aaron Jones looked dominant last week. Good. So, I mean, it's hard not to give that kid a second chance on that, too.
Yeah, he looked really good.
And plus, if anything, it's going to save Ty Montgomery for the long run. So you know what you have with Montgomery in the long run. Might as well let Aaron Jones do what he's going to do because neither one of them are going to win or lose Packers games. It's Aaron Rodgers is going to win them the games.
Yeah, he's the man when it comes to winning and losing games.
Yeah. So any other big injuries?
That was all the ones I had, unless you had one that you could think of.
No, but I think that's about it. You want to recap the Eagles-Panthers game from last night? You know I do.
The Eagles played phenomenal, and Cam kind of blew it in the end. That's my recap.
Well, Cam had been struggling the whole game. There should have been two other interceptions that Jalen Mills screwed up for the Eagles because there was one that he was targeting Curtis Samuel, and Jalen Mills had PI on him. There was no chance Samuel could have even caught the ball, and Rodney McLeod had just jumped over there and intercepted it. And it was like there was no chance Samuel could even play the ball. And it was just like, man. And the thing is the Panthers have been blitzing the fifth most in the league. And the Eagles O-line, even without Lane Johnson, still held up. Like, I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz got sacked 3 times, had 1 fumble loss, 2 fumbles. But I'm just saying, like, that was great performance by the O-line. And then the Eagles D-line was dominant against Cam. In the third quarter, the Carolina's backfield running backs had a total of negative 10 yards. And Cam Newton had all the rushing yards for the team.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I noticed is LeGarrette Blount actually did decent against a tough defensive team, which I was kind of surprised to see.
Yeah. Over the past 4 weeks, LeGarrette Blount, 43-plus touches for 334-plus yards, an average of 7.76 yards per carry.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad, guys. It's not bad at all.
Everybody wrote him off early in the season. Now he's starting to show that, just
I wrote him off before the draft.
Yeah.
Like, I told everybody, I was like, he's going to be a bust. And it started out like I was right, but with injuries to Smallwood, Humphrey, or Sproles, and Donnell Pumphrey, I mean, it's just opened it up.
And he's got a defined role now in that offense. He's going to be the guy that pounds the ball, and he doesn't have to worry about catching too many, although he does have a couple catches in the last few games.
And then Carson Wentz did everything he needed to do for that team to win. He definitely was extending plays. He just didn't want to get sacked. He was fighting for everything. And, I mean, their offense looked good, but their offense had key field position off of turnovers from the defense and special teams.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I watched most of the game. I think I missed the first 5 or 10 minutes or so. Wentz looked amazingly good.
Now, who do you think, like, and I kind of have my answer, who do you think is going to be the number one receiver for the Eagles at the end of the season, fantasy-wise?
I want to say Alshon Jeffrey, but it looks like Aguilar is getting all the stuff out of the slot.
I'm going to say Aguilar because Aguilar is just being efficient, and he's showing a burst that you haven't seen in the first 2 years. Like, just that touchdown catch he had. He was running the slot on a slant route. Carson Wentz led the pass, and as soon as he led the pass, Aguilar's hands just glued to the ball, full extension, stayed in stride, and then you went from seeing him being in 4th gear to 6th gear, just running into the end zone, and just his elusiveness that he's been using on the plays is great. Where Alshon Jeffrey has caught 50% of the balls thrown his way this year, which should be higher for the type of receiver he is, which is why I'm kind of going towards Aguilar.
Well, the great thing about that tandem is Alshon Jeffrey will always take the number 1 corner, leaving Aguilar to get the number 3 guy in the slot. So it's not as good of a cover guy in the slot as they are on the number 1 guy. So it helps Aguilar out a lot.
And that's just at the wide receiver position. I think Ertz is season long. So Cam Newton should have had 5 interceptions, had 3, had 1 rushing touchdown and 1 passing touchdown. Cam Newton, everybody thought he had a resurgence against the Eagles' weak secondary, strong front 7. I'm just saying the Eagles were barely blitzing Cam and still getting to him. They were rushing 4 guys and just battering him.
Yeah, they were getting to him all day long.
And the running backs were getting tackled before they even got to Cam. Like, they were hitting him as they were running to Cam pretty much on the handoff.
Yeah, that was amazing to watch their defensive line just wreak havoc.
Yeah, and the thing I think one of their biggest faults is they weren't double teaming Fletcher Cox. Like, he demands a double team. That guy is one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and when you don't do that, he's going to start getting by people. And yeah, he didn't have like a bunch of sacks or anything, but his pressures were so high that it was freeing up everybody else to get around the edge because they were kind of doing like a wide 9 formation to get around the edge to stop those running backs. However, Cam Newton exposed them on some long runs.
I think Cam finished 11 carries for 71 yards or somewhere
and
in
a
that
TD.
area. Yeah.
That's correct.
So I mean, that's his. He's going to get points doing that, and that's going to be where he gets the positive stuff taken away from the negative stuff with all the interceptions.
Now, even with that though, I think the problem with Carolina is all of their receivers. I know Christian McCaffrey is a running back, but he's a receiver. Not including Christian McCaffrey or Curtis Samuel. I think are all the same type of receiver. You got Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, Ed Dixon.
Huge.
Okay, they're all big guys. They're all 6'3 plus. They're all 230 plus. I was like, they're big guys. They're one-trick ponies. They're red zone threats, and they're like a possession threat. Like, that's it. Maybe you can get them good on a jump ball, but Kelvin Benjamin's not the same athletic guy he was in his rookie year. And Devin Funchess was a tight end in college, I believe.
Yeah, he was a tight end.
For, what was it, Michigan?
Yep.
And then converted to wide receiver when he came to the NFL, which I think he probably should have stayed at tight end, but, I mean, he's making it work. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's going to be Carolina's struggle year-round, and losing Luke Kuechly to his 3rd concussion in 3 years, man, it's just, that was a bad beat on Luke Kuechly, and you never want to see a player go down, but hopefully he can come back and be healthy.
The wide receivers, I think, are going to struggle with their yards after catch.
Yeah,
because they're not that speedy, explosive, get downfield kind of guy.
And they're not going to make you miss.
Yeah, they're going to catch it, maybe bounce off you and get a few yards that way, but they're not that explosive. I'm going to take it 90 yards.
Yeah, I agree with you. But they are third and short, get a first down. 2nd and long, still can probably get a first down. All right. I think that kind of covers that recap for a little bit. By the way, Eagles Super Bowl contenders, yes or no?
Yes, I think so.
I mean, you have to. Oh, another quick stat. 4 of their 6 games have been on the road. Last year, they went 1-7 on the road.
So they're turning it around. They're doing better.
So I'm just saying, they're performing when they need to perform, and they're going in tough matchups and still winning.
So let me ask you this question. This just a real quick break, because I know that you play fantasy sports and I play fantasy sports. When you get a chance to be free on Sunday, are you the kind of guy that sits there and watches your phone or the stats come across the TV and check how your team's doing? Or you just sit back and relax and wait till like nighttime?
Oh, I watch it all day long. Every minute I'm on there, like checking all my leagues. Okay, how's this team doing? How's this team doing? Who do I need to pay attention to on the games? Who am I targeting? Also for the podcast, I'm checking that so much because it's easy to just look up all the stats in your fantasy apps.
Mm-hmm.
You can just click on one of the games and you're like, okay, how's he doing fantasy? There's his points. How they rack up all day. It pisses off my girlfriend. We're actually going to see my parents this weekend and on Sunday because she got off. So I was like, hey, I told her no football again. Because our schedule was so different. I was like, I got to spend some time with her.
So me, I try and wait at least the first quarter of the game. If I'm off, I usually work Sundays, but if I'm off, I try and wait the first quarter, not to check anything, just watch the game that I'm at. But it's so hard that I want to see how my guys are doing, and I want to make sure that my guys are doing what I think they were supposed to do for the week. And I want to check stats, and I want to look, and I want to check it out. I want to see how my teams are doing, who I got to root for, who I don't got to root for. So I check it constantly after the first quarter.
In that first quarter, like the main thing I'm doing, and I do this as probably the thing I do most consistently, is on ESPN. Like it shows you all the games that are active at that point. I just look to see what the score is, and it'll be like, okay, touchdowns. Like I click on that, see who got the touchdown, see all that. Oh, field goal. Okay, who got all the yardage, receptions, or how many throws did they take to get there? Like how did it happen? And I was like, and I break all that down, and then I started looking off at who's getting the target share of every drive. It's ridiculous. I'm a nerd when it comes to it.
I am too. But like I said, I try at least that first quarter. I try not to check any stats, just because I want to enjoy the game that I'm watching.
All right, so let's get to our mailbag.
Mailbag.
Man, we need to get a drop in here, something like Blue's Clues, mail time, or something like that. Just something funny and all that. Like I love things that make me laugh, guys. All right. So our first question is from Adam Rice, one of our good friends. Adam asked a question about Adrian Peterson. Is he an RB2, a flex for potential of rest of year going to Arizona?
So for me, I still think Ellington's the guy that you want to own in this one because you know that he's got a role. He's going to catch balls and he's going to rush, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. For Peterson to make a difference on his team, he's got to make an adjustment to that offense. He's got to learn a whole new offense halfway through the season on the fly, and I think it's more difficult than people think. And that offensive line is not that great of a rushing line. So, wishful thinking is a flex for Adrian Peterson for the season.
I'm very cautious when it comes to AP. I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I'm just really cautious. I'm not going to start AP until I see 2 weeks of consistency from him in this new offense, given that they want to they want to have a David Johnson back. They really do. But they don't have that one person that can do everything that David Johnson did. You have Andre Ellington, who can do the receiving portion, and Chris Johnson wasn't getting it done like he was years ago. So now you're giving AP a chance. I think AP may be in standard leagues, but in PPR leagues, I'm just going Ellington hands down. The other problem with it is I don't know if AP still has it.
It's going to be tough. So just looking at what they've had before, David Johnson was a phenomenal athlete, and he did everything that they asked him, and he was perfect at in this offense. So now they have to go and try and figure out how to replace him. Ellington, I think, has the receiving side, and I'm not sure that Peterson has the running side down, and I do want to see it. The Cardinals have only 14 rushing first downs in 5 games this year. That is horrible. That is not good at all. That's 2.8 per game. So I don't know if Peterson can help that out, but it's worth taking a look at and seeing what he can do.
I just think it's almost a bad offense all around. Just going to put it out there. Now, Adam had a second question for us. Devontae Parker likely out. So do you go John Brown, Kendall Wright, or Adam Humphries?
Man, that's a tough one too.
He says he's leaning Brown. And I'm going to say I'm leaning Brown too, but my thing is I want Jerron Brown, not John Brown, but I'll still take John Brown in it.
Well, Arizona has thrown the ball more than any other team in the NFL, I believe, up to this point. And the only problem with going with one of those secondary wide receivers in Arizona is all three of them have a chance of getting a big game, and you never know which one it's going to be. I mean, if you go to Humphreys, you got two guys in front of them with Evans and Deshaun Jackson. So you're in the same boat there. I think Kendall Wright, we're not sure with Trubisky what he's going to do, but he is their really only wide receiver.
But they're also, Kendall Wright's facing Baltimore this week, so that's why I kind of knocked him down. Humphreys going against Arizona. I'm looking at John Brown against Tampa Bay. I think he has the best matchup, and again, being on the team that throws the most.
Yeah, I think I go John Brown also just because you know they're going to throw the ball. You're not sure if he's going to get those balls thrown to him.
All right. Richard Hughes asks, Carson Wentz, matchup proof QB1 rest of the season?
Yeah, I could see that. He was one of my my sleepers for the season as being a number one quarterback.
Now, I am an Eagles fan, so people will say I'm biased. However, I will say I am not sure he is matchup proof rest of the season because he does face the Denver Broncos later on the season.
Yeah, but even doing something like that, he's still – it's a passing offense, and he's a good quarterback. He's a good leader of that offense. So I think that even if he only throws the ball 22 times, he's going to complete 16 of them and have 2, maybe 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's going to be a top 12 QB in the year, no doubt. I think on the week against Denver, I'm probably going somewhere else. I actually have Deshaun Watson in one league that I have Wentz, and week 9 I'm going to go Watson. But other than that, the rest of his schedule, rest of the year, yeah, I think he's matchup proof the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have, I mean, who else would you take instead of him? Like in that, I would say 8 to 12 range for the rest of the year. Would it be Phillip Rivers? Would it be Matt Stafford?
No.
I mean, that's the kind of guys that you're going to look at that range. Right?
Well, right now in ESPN leagues, Carson Wentz
even Watson is going to be around that at the end of the season.
Carson Wentz is 6th rank in PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown. So 6 point per passing touchdown.
I could see Wentz being a top 10, right at top 8, 9, 10 kind of guy for the rest of the season.
I could see him top 8.
Yeah, right in that area.
Yeah.
I'd feel comfortable with him. All right, here's one question I got. It comes from my buddy back in Connecticut, Clayton Sweet. He wants to know if he should start Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Now, this is one. Was it Clayton or was it Joe Ryan?
No, it was Clayton, but Joe commented on it.
All right. Joe Ryan also had the same question, same comment. I'm actually going to go Deshaun Watson.
And I have such a hard time benching Aaron Rodgers, and it has to be an extremely superb, no question. The other guy's going to score more points, and I don't think I could pull it. I got to have Rodgers. I got to put Rodgers in there just because I know he's going to be a playmaker, and I know he's going to throw the ball.
All right. Do you want to do a bet?
No.
No. You're not that confident?
No.
So listen to me. Take Watson. I'm confident enough to take Watson on a bet over Rodgers. Next up, I have Jesse Thompson. Who do you trust more this week? Aaron Jones, Willie Snead, or Sammy Watkins in standard as a flex? This one's an easy one for me.
Me too.
Snead.
See, for me, I'm taking a running back in a standard because I always think that they're going to get more opportunities to score a touchdown.
I'm just Detroit and New Orleans is the highest over-under at 50 points right now. And I have a stat that I'm going to get to on Breeze here in the next couple questions. But, man, I'm going Snead, and I'll be able to elaborate a little bit more. All right. Any other questions for you?
That was the only one that I had, but I got the one you're talking about from Mickey Cummins.
Yeah, Mickey Cummins, one of you could call her a family friend for me. She's always been there for everybody that's close to me, and she's always treated me just like everybody else, and I love it. She's a very sweethearted lady. Thank you, Mickey, for all that you do for us. All right, so Mickey asks, Alex Smith or Drew Brees this week? Now, I originally told her Alex Smith because I just like what Alex Smith has been doing. It's kind of hard not to support his MVP candidacy this year. But the thing is The interesting stat I have found on Drew Brees. Drew Brees coming out of a bye week throws an average of 364 yards and 3.2 TDs. All right. When coming out of a bye week playing in a dome, he throws an average of 382 yards and 3.6 TDs per game with 0 interceptions. I am saying, guys, that is some ridiculous stats, and Detroit right now has allowed the 6th most passing yards to opposing teams.
Yeah. So to me, I mean, oh God, this is such a tough one.
It really is. There's no wrong answer,
Yeah.
and I had told her that you can't go wrong with either.
Both of the choices are really, really solid, and they should both have good games. Alex Smith has been phenomenal. I believe he's number 2 overall at quarterback rankings. So, but man, Drew Brees is always that top guy too. God, being in the 816 though, I think we get an opportunity more to watch Alex Smith and see the good things that he does. And that right now, that offense is a high-powered offense. So I may lean towards the Alex Smith side.
There's no, like I said, there's no wrong answer, and I'm changing it to Breeze. I'm sorry, Mickey, that I had already sent you a direct message saying Smith, but I mean either way, there's no wrong answer, and I mean you can't feel upset about it. I mean, man, it's just hard not to see that over under for that game for Breeze and what he's been doing after bye weeks. I'm gonna go Breeze, but I mean I don't see you having a bad game with either of them.
Either way, you should get a lot of points from that position. If
that's your predicament, ladies and gentlemen, is which top 5 QB to start, you're having a good week.
Yeah, you're doing well. I got one from Charles Penn in the Pizza League. So it's a 2 quarterback league, 4 points per touchdown for a quarterback. Josh McCown or Joe Flacco as a streaming option this week.
McCown.
I'd say McCown also. I don't even think it's a question.
New England has a terrible, terrible defense, and Flacco is a terrible, terrible quarterback.
Yeah, I don't even think that.
And to think Flacco has a Super Bowl ring.
Here's one for all the desperate teams out there, and I know there's a few of us that are thinking this way. My buddy, Jason Castillo. Should I fake my own death to avoid paying for garbage fantasy teams? If yes, please give examples of jobs that don't require social security numbers.
That's a good one.
So he's having a bad season in a couple leagues, and everybody has their own way of dealing with it, and that happens to be his. So
Anthony had a question for me that he had sent through our podcasting page. I'm starting Jerick McKinnon over Buck Allen this week. I have him in my top 20. How crazy is that? I don't think it's crazy at all. I really think Jerick McKinnon is a pretty good play. I have Allen ranked above McKinnon this week, and it's just based off of that Flacco has to get the ball out, where Jerick, just because that offense is just rough, where Jerick McKinnon actually, doesn't, they have more options than just him.
Yeah, McKinnon is the more explosive of the 2 backs here, and I think we saw that.
And I still think McKinnon's a bad football player. He's athletic as all get out, but he's
an athletic freak. The combine stuff and the spark numbers and everything that he's put up was amazing, but it just seems to lack a little something when he gets onto the field.
His football IQ is just not there.
There's something missing, but he's been making plays the last few weeks, so
yeah, we'll see.
Honestly, I still want Javoris Allen, but I could see somebody starting McKinnon in this one.
And then Anthony had a question for me specifically. He said, in the Listeners League, lube, ? Now, on this one, it looks like I'm going to destroy him. It just looks like a one-sided fist fight. It looks like Mr. Freeze versus Aquaman. You know how it's going to go, all right? But it's like the world's most one-sided fist fight. And I told him, nah, bruh, I'm raw dogging that and going in dry.
All the matchups could look perfect for your team and bad for the other team, and you can get an injury.
Yeah.
Then you get another injury. And then your quarterback's out. So now you're down 3 players.
Well,
the bad team comes up and bites you in the ass, and you end up losing.
Well, my wide receiver 3 this week is Devontae Parker, and my bench wide receiver is Paul Richardson. So now I have to drop somebody to pick up a receiver. And I've actually already put in a couple a couple waivers claims. One of them was for Jerron Brown this week because normally you can do ad drops, but for some reason I have to put a claim on him right now. I think he had been dropped by somebody else. I haven't checked the transactions, but hopefully I get him. If not, I have there's actually 4 or 5 boom bust candidates I'm targeting.
That's all you need. Something to get you by through the bye weeks, and you should be fine.
That's usually how I plan my wide receiver 3 in my lineups. Is I want a boom bust guy.
Yeah.
My stud, I want to be a stud. Then I want a consistent player, 10 plus points, and then wide receiver 3, I want a boom bust.
Yeah, that's how I set it up too. Even at tight end, I want that guy that has a shot at putting up big points.
On tight end, I just want the targets. Like, if you're getting the targets, man, like that makes me happy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for our, I believe it's episode 15 on week 6 fantasy projections and rankings. We're going to be putting out our rankings tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to be going home and finishing up the consensus once I get the email from Anthony of all of his. And then we're going to just have a good week. A lot of football.
Gotta love football. Love it every weekend.
Yeah.
Real quick, I got 2 football questions for you. Statements. I won't even say questions. Indianapolis has only thrown 2 touchdown passes this season in 5 games.
It's rough.
Very rough. There's one team in the NFL that has more rushing yards than passing yards. Do you know who it is?
Denver Broncos.
No. Jacksonville.
Oh, I should have known that one. God. No, I just know that Denver Broncos, they haven't been high on yardage, and before the bye week, they were the 3rd ranked rushing offense, and they're also the 3rd ranked rushing defense.
Yeah, they really bulked up the rush side of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So Jacksonville has 28 more rushing yards than passing yards. The Ravens are next with 140 yards less passing. So that really means that Jacksonville is trying to pound the ball, and that's how they want to play their.
So I've already talked to Anthony about this, but one of my favorite plays this past week was Leonard Fournette flagging on the defensive back to come hit him. And my favorite part about this, and Anthony had cut me off when I was telling him about it, but my favorite part about it is the guy tackled him and all that. And when the guy got up and all that, he acted like he did something after getting ran over by a train by Leonard Fournette. He got up and was bragging and getting up in Leonard Fournette's face. It's bruh, you didn't realize that he already ran 11 yards? He already got the first down. You didn't stop him at the line. You didn't stop him behind the line. You didn't stop him after a 2-yard gain. You stopped him after a 11-yard gain. Bro, he ran you over and you just got lucky.
He did the Matrix wave to him.
The fact that he was telling him, hey, come on, come hit me.
I got you. I'll take care of you right here real quick.
You know, the thing was if he had the vision to see that guy had the chance to come hit him, and instead of running the other way, running out of bounds, he initiated the contact. And what that reminds me of is back when Ryan Matthews, when he was healthy and actually playing, that guy, when he hit people, it was like a car wreck. When you would hear those pads, it was just that huge crash. And I remember watching interviews of defensive backs and linebackers who are that's one running back I don't like tackling because it hurts me more than it hurts him. And I feel like it's worse with Leonard Fournette. You're literally getting hit by a freight train that, one of the biggest running backs in the league right now, probably the biggest. He's 6'3" or 6'2"?
He's 6'2". The last time they listed it was 240, but he probably went up since then.
Yeah. But I'm just this guy is huge. And he's just running over people, and I don't know how he does it. And then my second favorite play is his 1-yard rushing play that he leaped over without touching any of the linemen. This guy jumped. I know it was a 1-yard rush, but his jump over the line, he cleared 6-foot men and made a jump about 5 yards.
Yeah,
just
it was
hurtling over.
Crazy Superman, all out in the air touchdown.
Man, crazy. Cam Newton doesn't got nothing on Leonard Fournette on that.
So Jacksonville has 7 touchdowns passing and only 5 rushing. How crazy is that?
And Leonard Fournette still leads the team in touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's Jacksonville's amazing stats right there. That's all I got.
And 3 of those 7 touchdowns went to Lewis.
Yep.
On the passing side. And I know 2 of them have gone to Leonard Fournette. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here at 816 Podcasting. This was a great episode. Love the mailbag questions. And I want to give a shout out to Dom Warren. who gave us a great comment on our Facebook page and giving support for all of 816 Podcasting, including Mark Out Wrestling. Thank you, man. We appreciate the listens. We appreciate you sharing that stuff. We really just appreciate all the support all of you all do. But I just want to give Dom a shout out because he was giving us that feedback. He was letting us know that, hey, we're doing a good job. And to me, that really resonates with me, that people are going to go out of their way and just give us a shout out like that. So I just want to give him a shout out back. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Dom. Thanks for everybody who listens, everybody who gives us mailbag, leaves us comments, helps us out. Thanks to Anthony for being basically the producer. And
producer, host, game planner,
fill-inner, jump in whenever we need him, helps out
studio.
whenever we need him. Yeah, all that good stuff. So thank you. Thanks for all the love. Keep listening. Don't forget about Stitcher. We're on Stitcher. It makes it easy for you guys to listen. And thank you again. I appreciate it.
Monday's episode I actually listened to on Stitcher the other day, and I thought it was just a great episode. Y'all did a good job on that. And don't forget to follow us on 816 Podcasting Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher. Make sure to send us mailbag questions. And if you have any thoughts on how we can change the show to make it better for your listeners, please let us know in a direct message or a comment. Thank you.